This video is going to look at hip stability, specifically hip movements, abduction, adduction or lateral movements. This can compromise, we see this a lot in clinic, it compromises how our knees track, how the ankles work, can also help look after our lower back as well. So we see lots of issues being caused by lack of hip stability. For this video I need a couple of little things. So I've got a glute band here, but any type of physio or resistance band, we've got them in the clinic if you need some, so give us a shout. And then also I'm using a wobble cushion, but a pillow or anything like that, just something we can squeeze in between our legs for some of these exercises. So let's get going. The first two movements we're going to look at is a pelvic tilt, anterior posterior. If you've already seen us in clinic, then we would have been through this with you. And then we're going to go into a glute bridge with the band. Again, we would have shown you this already. So we're going to come onto our backs, pop the band around you, so we're ready to go for the glute bridge. And then I just want us to start with that glute, that pelvic tilt. So start by arching your back up to the ceiling, and then we're going to roll our back into the floor, squeezing that tailbone up between the legs. As soon as we feel like we've got that lower back squeezed in, we're just going to roll and scoop those hips up towards the ceiling. And then as we do that, we're just going to squeeze out on that band, and we should start to feel that on the outside of those hips. If it helps, you can put your hand on your glutes and feel that working. Really try and keep those hips scooped up towards the ceiling, and then relax down. Stage one of that is just to squeeze up and out on the band once, and then relax down. Stage two is to roll your back in, squeeze your hips and knees out first, and then scoop up. And then at the top of that movement, just gonna add in two little oscillations. Keep your hips squeezed nice and high, and then roll that one back down. Stage three of that movement is to squeeze up and out and hold for a couple of seconds, and then come back in, and we want to repeat that 6 to 8 times, but make sure the hips aren't drooping down, nice and squeezed up through the hips with a big push out. The next movement from there is to roll the band down towards our ankles. We're then going to go for a straight leg. So drop your legs down so they're straight onto the floor. To start with, we want to keep the feet on the floor. And again, we're just pushing out on that band, trying to squeeze nice and even out with both feet. So left and right feet pushing out at the same time. And we should start to feel this a little bit more towards the front of the hips, but still on the outside. Stage one is to squeeze out and then relax back in with the legs down onto the floor. If we can, going to challenge the core a little bit more, make this quite a bit harder, is to bring the legs just off the floor and then squeeze out from there, and then relax back in. That will be a lot harder, so work your way up to that one. The next movement to work on is going to be an adduction, or a squeezing together of the knees. So replace the band around your knees with your pillow, foam roller, whatever you have. And then we're going to start back into that same position. Squeeze the hips on, so make sure your back's squeezed in, exactly the same, except this time we're squeezing the knees in rather than out. So as we scoop up with the hips, we're trying to squeeze the pillow or foam roller, whatever you are using. And again, level one is a nice gentle squeeze all the way up. Level two would be to squeeze up, squeeze as hard as you can on the band, and then relax, keep the hips nice and high, and then again squeezing 6 to 8 reps, and then relax that one all the way down. Exactly the same we did in the previous. We're just gonna then drop that between our feet with our legs straight. And then to start with, feet on the floor, squeezing together, trying to squeeze mostly with the heels rather than the forefoot. And then if we feel like we can, just a lift off of the feet and then a squeeze from there. And again, level three would be to lift and squeeze and repeat 6 times. Really tough, that last one, so you might need a little rest in between each rep. The next movements to look at are our side plank variations. So again, side planking, making our body working a lateral way, working the outside and the inside of our hips. So the first one we're going to do is level 1 of a side plank. So you're going to go onto your knee, onto your elbow, and then try and push your hips up. Squeeze your bum, push your hips forward, trying to get your body in that perfect straight line, hand up towards the ceiling, and then hold for breaths. Try and hold that for 4 or 5 breaths if we can. If you want to make that a little bit harder, we can try and take that top leg off. So we're supporting our body all the way through that bottom part of it, and hold yourself there. Level 2 would be to come up onto our feet. So straighten the body out, squeeze yourself up, bum forwards, and holding yourself there. And then if that feels comfortable and strong, level 3 would be to take that top leg off, bring it into the body, squeeze it up to the floor, but again, staying nice and strong up through that side. For the next exercise, we're going to come up against the wall, and again, using our cushion, foam roller, whatever you have with you. We want to try and try and just get yourself so your shoulders just slightly away from the wall when you're stood up straight. Bring the foam roller or ball onto the side of the wall. You want your hip at 90 degrees and your knee at 90 degrees. Keep your body nice and upright, so I'm not trying to lean into the wall. And then all I'm trying to do from here is push my knee into the wall from there. You'll feel your hip stabilizing on the outside. You should also feel your hip squeezing from that left hip or the hip that's closest to the wall. Squeeze and then relax, and then squeeze again. And the more you do this, the stronger you'll get with that squeeze, feeling it stabilizing through both hips. Again, challenging the body in that lateral way. 6 to 8 reps, and then obviously swap round and do the same on the other side. The last exercise we're going to run through in this video is a little bit of balance work, and again working on that hip stability. We have another video for leg alignment which has had lots of variations of this type of exercise, and we'll link to that at the end. So we're just looking at the biomechanics, working all the way from the big toe through the ankle, through the knee, up into the hip. To start with, all we're going to do is just stand on one leg. Soft bend through the knee so the knee isn't locked out, and just get your balance and get nice and comfortable here. You can see a few little corrections being made through my hip and ankle and knee. That's fine as long as we're balanced. And then when we're ready, we're just going to hip hinge ourselves forward, trying to bring ourselves nice and low, getting that back leg out as well. And then when we're ready, we're just going to stand ourselves up, bring that leg out in front. And again, corrections being made, but hopefully not falling over. Very quickly, we'll start to feel that burn up through that outside of the hip, and progress through the reps on that one. Focus on quality, not quantity though. So if we're wobbling all over the place, then really refocus. Even if we just do one at a time, that's absolutely fine to start with.